Good day, Earth viewers. I'm Oma from O.D.A. TVD. Join me as I give you today's top news. Thank
Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know?
So aliens are real?
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it. Do you believe it, Peter?
Well, the president can declassify anything that he wants to, so if you want to make an announcement.
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
Prince Andrew arrested by the police there, related to something with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think people in this country at some point, associates of Jeffrey Epstein, will wind up in handcuffs too?
Well, you know, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated. That's very nice. So I can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing. To see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. But I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite. He was against me. He was fighting me in the election, which I just found out through the last 3 million pages of documents.
India's biggest AI summit happening right now is off to a rocky start. There have been long lines, confusing security checks, and a dust explosion. One university also came under fire after accusations of showcasing a robot dog as its own, even though it was made in China. It later denied owning the tech and blamed the controversy on miscommunication. But the sheer scale and size of the summit are impressive. Hundreds of thousands of people are attending, including world leaders and some of the most powerful figures in AI, like OpenAI's Sam Altman and Google CEO Sundar Pichai.
No technology has me dreaming bigger than AI. It is the biggest platform shift of our lifetimes.
Now, interestingly, these tech giants have pledged tens of billions of dollars in investment in India. And that's because to them, India is an incredibly attractive market. It has 1.4 billion people, many of whom are digitally savvy and already use AI. That means a huge talent pool and data sets that can help train AI to be better. But there are still hurdles before India becomes an AI powerhouse. Right now, it produces 20% of the world's data, but stores only 3%. AI data centers also need enormous amounts of power and water. There are also concerns about job security, especially with a fast-growing young workforce. And of course, there are serious questions about how AI is regulated and kept safe for over 1 billion people. So the summit is really the start to a much larger conversation about who gets access to AI and also who benefits from it.
Video released Thursday of a 5-hour deposition of retail magnate Les Wexner shows the billionaire repeatedly insisting he knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, adding that law enforcement had never spoken with him.
Did you at any time ever consider him to be a close friend?
No. As I look back at it, I was conned by the world Olympic all-time con artist. And you look at, I read in the news all the people he knew, royalty, kings, princes, and all that. An incredible con artist.
Has the FBI or DOJ ever directly contacted you or spoken to you about
Not to my knowledge.
Never.
Never.
Did you speak to any law enforcement agency of any kind regarding Jeffrey Epstein's investigation in New York in 2019?
Never didn't. No, I don't remember ever talking to any law enforcement agency.
At one point, his lawyer, Michael Levy, whispered some advice.
Answer not the question. 5 words, okay?
We did get a statement from the King, which came remarkably quickly and shows how seriously he's been taking this. He said, I've learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, so not referring to him as his brother, really trying to distance himself as much as possible from Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He says what now follows is the full and fair, proper process by which this issue is investigated. That's extremely important, he's suggesting. It should be done in the appropriate manner by the appropriate authorities. I have been told by a source that the King wasn't informed that this arrest was going to take place, so he was as caught out by it as everyone else is. In this, the King says, as I've said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. So the King making clear that what's most important here is the police investigation, and he's reminding everyone that it's the victims and the survivors that everyone needs to think of first. Effectively, Andrew is the last person we should be thinking of in this situation. So this is the King trying to separate his professional role from his personal relationships.
It's almost impossible to miss the new banner bearing President Trump's face that just went up here at the Justice Department. If you've been in Washington in recent months, you've seen similar ones at the Department of Labor or the Department of Agriculture, for example. But this one seems to strike a different chord, given it's the Department of Justice. Historically, administrations have tried to stress a level of independence between the West Wing and the White House and their Justice Department, arguing that politics doesn't influence who is being prosecuted. But it's safe to say that line has been erased since President Trump has taken office in his second term. We've seen him directly pressure the Attorney General to prosecute people who he perceives as his political enemies or people who have led prosecutions against him. The Justice Department says this banner is in honor of America's upcoming 250th birthday celebration. But if you look at this banner closely, it also echoes what President Trump himself has said, talking about the slogan, "Make America Safe Again."
The United States is going to make a contribution of $10 billion to the Board of Peace.
President Trump made significant announcements here at the first Board of Peace meeting on Gaza in Washington, saying that the U.S. would be contributing $10 billion to the board, that the member nations would be contributing $7 billion to reconstruction in Gaza, and that 5 countries, Indonesia, Morocco, Albania, Kosovo, and Kazakhstan, are prepared to send troops and police to stabilize Gaza, with Egypt and Jordan also ready to support a Palestinian police force. A video shown here had flashy images of buildings to be built in Gaza, saying that the goal is to rebuild Gaza in the next 3 years. But there are also concerns about the U.S. military potentially striking Iran, with U.S. officials saying that the military would be prepared to potentially do so as soon as this weekend, and President Trump not downplaying that possibility.
And now is the time for Iran to join us on a path that will complete what we're doing. And if they join us, that'll be great. If they don't join us, that'll be great too. But it'll be a very different path. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
Mark Zuckerberg was in court to testify to defend the way that Instagram operates against allegations from a now 20-year-old woman who claims that she was damaged, her health was damaged as she was growing up. She says she started using social media, YouTube, at the age of 6, and then Instagram a few years later. Mark Zuckerberg said that he regretted the slow progress that Meta, the parent company of Instagram, had made in identifying children under the age of 13 on Instagram. He said Meta had improved, but he wishes that they had got there a little bit sooner. A little bit earlier in the day, he was talking about company goals to extend the amount of time that people spend on Instagram. He said that the company used to give time as goals, but he said that's not how the company is operated now. So Mark Zuckerberg certainly not acknowledging that Instagram is made to be addictive, but he believes everything possible is being done to protect its youngest users.
How did the King's brother end up being arrested? We do know that it comes after a police investigation into Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's role as a trade envoy, so he would represent the UK on trade missions. In 2011, he gave up that role after his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein came to light. There was a huge amount of public criticism around that. In January of this year, King Charles evicted Andrew from his mansion on the Windsor estate and relocated him to a private estate in Norfolk. And that's where he was arrested by Thames Valley Police. But this is a long, complicated case, and it is overshadowing anything that the British monarchy does.
The trial has begun for a man accused of leaving his girlfriend to freeze to death on an Austrian mountain. The 36-year-old man, named in local media as Thomas P., is accused of having left his 33-year-old girlfriend, Kirsten G., alone as he went to seek help on Austria's tallest mountain, Großglockner. This eerie webcam footage appears to show Thomas descending the mountain in the early hours of January 19th, 2025. Thomas is facing a charge of grossly negligent homicide, with state prosecutors accusing him of making multiple errors, including seeking help too late and not carrying suitable equipment. He denies any wrongdoing and believes his girlfriend's death is, quote, a tragic accident, according to his lawyer. After reaching the final point of their planned hike on the afternoon of January the 18th, the defendant says the couple were both aware that this was the point of no return before reaching the summit and agreed to continue. Weather conditions then deteriorated, with strong winds and dropping temperatures as low as -20 degrees Celsius, and Kirsten could no longer continue. Prosecutors say when Thomas left for help around 2 a.m, Kirsten was, quote, unprotected, exhausted and hypothermic. About 50 meters, 164 feet below the summit, where she ultimately froze to death. There are conflicting accounts about Thomas's call for help, but prosecutors argue that he failed to notify emergency services until it was too late.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.